It's fair to say that 4-0 win over Everton, Manchester United's biggest Premier League victory since we beat Leeds 5-1 in 2021, was progress. Ruben Amorim is building momentum, but the real reason Amorim's changes are working aren't down to him playing with three at the back. It's more than that. Let's run through the 5 things that we learned from that 4-0 win over Everton as we continue to focus on progress as a team, and Amorim wants more. So we're 3 games in under Ruben Amorim. The frustrating draw against Ipswich and how we built on that against Bodo Glimt, progress. And now that 4-0 win against Everton, progress. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far from Amorim. I want to speak about the 5 most important takeaways from that game against Everton that we'll take into Arsenal and things that we're starting to learn and what I think is the real reasons behind why Amorim is having success with this squad quite soon after he arrived. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But number 1 I want to focus on is Amorim's transparency and the players buying into that. Since day one and all 400 of his interviews, Amorim's messaging has been extremely consistent. There's a clarity in the communication, there's a clarity in the message and what he's trying to get across. And he's held that between these 2 wins as well. After Bodo Glimt, he praised the fact that United turned that game around and we controlled that second half, but ultimately he wasn't completely pleased with the performance. We conceded 2. It required a turnaround. Against Everton, he praised the performance and the individuals and the goals, and we scored 4. But we have a long way to go in the overall performance, which he is focusing on more than the result. Amorim has been very consistent in this approach this whole way through. And even after Ipswich, when he was speaking about the positioning of Delo, that was meant as constructive criticism. Speaking after the game, he was talking about how incredible Ahmad was, but physically he was beat at the end. So he wants to improve the fitness. Same thing he said about Højlund after he scored 2 against Bodo Glimt. I think this transparency is making it easier to sort of believe in Amorim, if you know what I mean. He doesn't just focus purely on even a positive result. He can pick out what needs to be improved. And I think these players are really buying into it. I think this is a good example here. This is, of course, the goal. This is Ahmad winning the ball up there and positioning from Bruno, Xerxes and Rashford all spot on. But the buy-in, as soon as United win the ball, is that. It's heads down from Rashford. It's sprinting. It's Xerxes. It's sprinting. It's Bruno. It's sprinting. It's everybody getting into position. 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, Xerxes scores and United make it 2-0. That is buy-in. The sort of buy-in that we haven't really seen too often from Manchester United, if I'm being completely honest. And I think that's an important factor as to why we're seeing progress. The players are believing it and they're executing it. Now, number 2 on this list, I want to speak about Amorim's rotations and tweaks. Okay, so this is the starting 11 that we saw against Everton. Xerxes started because Højlund was put on the bench. Mainoo was making his first start as well. Rashford came into the starting 11. There are changes, and there's going to be changes for Arsenal. And it makes a huge difference. The fact that he is able to do this and then take Bruno off, take De Ligt off, take Mazraoui off to rest him for Arsenal. United rarely get that ability. And United having more of the ball means that there will be less intense sprints off the ball. It's about managing this squad. And even in-game tweaks. And I'm pointing this out, right? I'll point this out in the live show. You can see here from the average positions. You can see how deep Xerxes was. And you can see also how deep Mainoo was. They were 2 small tweaks that he made to the system to get the most out of Xerxes. I think don't force him to be a box presence. Let him drop in between the lines. And it worked. And he scored 2 goals, both of them from cutbacks, from good breaks from United. Mainoo dropping in between the centre-backs to help with the progression out from the back with the ball because he wanted Mainoo on the ball. These little tweaks on a game-by-game basis will make United far more unpredictable and difficult to play against. And it's almost like, I think Steve mentioned this when we were talking about research. It's like there's a simplified version of Amorim's tactics, and the more that United play underneath him, the more complicated it will get. And the harder it will be for oppositions to predict us because there'll be more tweaks that we can do. Now, number 3 on this list, which you have to speak about after Everton, is, of course, Ahmad. How incredible was Ahmad against Everton? And how incredible has he been, really, for Amorim in that right wing-back role? It didn't come as a surprise to me that he played that well. But to see Ahmad shine, and remember this, ladies and gents, he's never played right wing-back before. This is a brand new system and a brand new position for Ahmad. And he's got 3 assists. He got 2 goals against POK under Rude as well. So I know that's a little bit different, but he is in a rich vein of form. And again, if I'm looking back towards this sort of buy-in, Ahmad winning the ball there against Braithwaite and Ahmad winning the ball later on in the game against Tarkowski, he was pretty unplayable. The work rate is almost like a role model sort of performance from Ahmad. The fact that he got man of the match despite Xerxes getting 2 goals and despite Rashford getting 2 goals is a testament to that. And I think he's absolutely embodying this sort of buy-in I'm talking about. If you can point towards Ahmad doing it, then every single other one of those players should be able to bring that level of performance as well. But as I said, in the same way that this isn't really a criticism of Ahmad, it's more a reflection of where these Manchester United players are. He was dead at the end. We need to manage to increase that physical ability because towards the end, Ahmad was exhausted because of the sort of performance he put in. Work on the fitness, you can do that more consistently and more regularly. Now, I want to speak about Rashford and Xerxes and the confidence boost that I think both of those players got from that game. Xerxes has almost been moving like a truck this season. He's looked so heavy. And when it comes to why we signed him not just for a goal score. Look, I'm not saying that we signed him to score 2 goals a game, but how he was allowed to play there against Everton is why we signed him. In between being a striker and a number 10. He's great at linking plays together. Prior to that, I'd say one of his better performances came away at Crystal Palace, where he was actually one of the chief creators. Don't have him as a box presence, and that's something, as I said, that I think Amorim recognised. Using players in their exact roles, the profiles of those players. Don't force players to try and be something they are not. And I think Xerxes really will take some confidence in that game, as will Marcus Rashford. That's 3 goals in 2 Premier League games for him. Against Ipswich, it was a proper striker's goal. Running forward, little dink, got in front of the goalkeeper. Obviously, we didn't win that game, but 2 goals from Rashford there. The first one, he hit it well on the volley and he got a deflection, but it was going in anyway. And the second one was great. Really nice underlapping run from Rashford. You love to see it. Confidence, buy-in. I go back to what I said there about every player head down, getting involved. A proper team collective is the only way that this ever truly works at Manchester United. And it's the only way it works for Ruben Amorim. And number 5 on the list. And somebody needs to speak about Onana, right? Because Onana, look, when it comes to goalkeepers, no one speaks about goalkeepers when they're playing well. They only ever speak about goalkeepers when they're playing crap. That's 6 clean sheets. He's top of the Premier League clean sheet list. He's winning the Golden Glove as it stands. He's prevented more goals directly and he's so much more confident. And it allows United to play a little bit of a higher line because of the confidence in the goalkeeper behind him. Really deserves some praise and long may it continue. And fingers crossed he keeps a clean sheet against Arsenal. But they're the sort of 5 main takeaways I'm taking from Everton and sort of the patterns of progress I think that we're seeing. Fingers crossed there can be more progress against Arsenal. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But I'm enjoying the Ruben Amorim's era so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next.